From the National Service of the Liberia Broadcasting System, a very good afternoon and welcome to Newsline on ELBC Radio, a 30-minute presentation of news about Liberia and other parts of the world. Today is Monday, October 31, 2022. I am Brooke Wedieka presenting, and these are the top stories. President George Weah to join other world leaders at the African Economic Forum in Morocco. African Organization of Public Accountants Committee convenes fourth General Assembly in Liberia. Press Union of Liberia leadership candidates face off in pre-election debate at the University of Liberia. And away from home, Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo admits his country faces its worst economic crisis ever. The detail of these including sports, the weather update, simple Liberian English, French, and foreign developments are ahead. But first, the news bulletin, and now we're going.
President George Weah is expected to leave Liberia on Tuesday, November 1 for the Kingdom of Morocco. It comes after he accepted an invitation from King Mohammed VI to attend and address the 14th edition of the Middays Forum in Morocco. The forum brings together over 5,000 participants, including world leaders, creating an opportunity to discuss the main geopolitical, economic, and social issues facing the world. The executive mansion said the Liberian leader will be among 200 renowned speakers at this year's forum. The forum, which runs from November 2 to the 5th, will be held under the theme From Crisis to Crisis Towards a New World Order. The Africa Organization of Public Accounts Committee, AFOPAC, has convened its fourth General Assembly and Symposium in Liberia. It is being held under the theme Collect Comprehensively, Borrow Wisely, Spend Efficiently, Public Finance Oversight in a Time of Pandemic Poverty. Policymakers, including members of the Joint Public Accounts Committee of the Legislature, as well as other international delegates, have converged for the 5-day event in Lower Maigibi County. In his keynote address, Finance Minister Samuel Tua decried the collapse of growth across Africa, quoting the latest World Growth Outlook of the International Monetary Fund. He said this is occasioned by the collapse of revenue, which will eventually lead to loss of jobs and more poverty across Africa.
So we're in very difficult times. Despite these challenges, countries have had various ways to resolve the challenges. Liberia has fared a little better than many other countries relative to COVID. I mean, to be honest, 2020 was tough. 2021, we bounced back to a growth of 5%. We had, under COVID, we had the highest revenue mobilized in the history of Liberia in nominal terms. Extraordinary leadership, fiscal discipline, and foresight of the president that is happening on the youth. But the story is different elsewhere, and we all know that.
Minister Tua spoke of the rise in the prices of fuel, oil, agricultural imports, and other basic commodities, including Liberia's staple food rice. He urged the policymakers across the continent to double up their efforts to tackle the looming challenges. President George Weah has described the AfroPark Assembly and Symposium as a medium to share knowledge that will increase prosperity for all Africans. President Weah believes the exercise benefits the African countries in the areas of transparency and accountability in the management of public finances. The Liberian leader congratulated the Joint Public Accounts Committee of the 54th Legislature for its selection as host and elevation to head the transcontinental body.
Experiences and benchmark best practices through continental peer changes. This can only lead to increased prosperity for all of our citizens, as this tend to gain immense benefits from greater transparency and accountability in the management of public finances.
President Weah further paid tribute to the late Senator Edward Dagosa for being one of the passionate advocates for the formation of AfroPark. He expressed the hope that the delegates' deliberations will be fruitful and productive. President Weah was making special remarks during the formal opening ceremony of the 4th General Assembly and Symposium of AfroPark. The two presidential candidates in the President of Liberia upcoming elections have presented their plans for the body. The two presidential candidates are Julius Kanuba and Daniel Yankuna. Julius Kanuba unveiled a 31-point action plan for the transformation of the press union of Liberia. As the Kanuba said, the plan is focusing on accountable leadership, construction of PUL headquarters, journalist health insurance, impactful decentralization of the PUL, reactivation of the collective bargaining agreement, and media development. He also pledged to prioritize the interests of journalists outside of Monrovia and further elaborated on a policy that will engender friendly cooperation between government and the media, while the union plays its advocacy role. For his part, Daniel Yankuna said he will build on his legacy by increasing advocacy and push for the improvement of journalists' wages through social dialogue, as Yankuna also vowed to ensure the construction of a PUL headquarters through resource mobilization strategy. He pledged to protect the rights of journalists at all times. Julius Kanuba and Daniel Yankuna spoke Monday at a debate organized by the Liberia Media for Democratic Initiatives (LMDR) at the University of Liberia Fendiel campus on Monday. The House of Representatives has cited authorities of the National Elections Commission, the Public Procurement and Concession Commission, and the National Identification Registry to appear before it on Tuesday, November 1. Plenary's recent decision was triggered by communication from Grand Bassa County District 5 Representative Thomas Goshua. Representative Goshua is concerned about the growing controversies between the Elections Commission and the PPCC over NEC's alleged breach of the PPCC Act in awarding the biometric contract to ECAMP.
The National Election Commission has had some controversies over the period of time as it relates to awarding the contract for this biometric. The issue of the possibility of this biometric registration being feasible at this given point in time when we are just a couple of months away from the process of voter registration.
The Grand Bassa County lawmakers said experts have stated that given the lack of network access in many rural communities, the biometric voter or voting system may not work to achieve the objectives of democracy and accountability. He wants the NEC to explain the possibility of holding the 2023 general and presidential elections using the biometric system as well as the selection of ECAMP. And correction officers of the National Palace of Corrections in Grand Jida County have launched a manhunt for over 5 inmates who allegedly escaped from the facility recently. Our correspondent said the incident could be attributed to recent food shortage at the National Correction Palace. According to our correspondent, one of the escaped inmates, Mosin Lama, has been rearrested while the rest are currently on the run. Those on the run include Jackson Solokolu, James Cully, Francis Yima, Lorenzo Robinson, and Daniel Clement. And while local authorities of Grand Jida County have identified with the Correction Palace to do the provision of food for the inmates.
Now we go and the latest from the newsroom. He returns later with the weather update and at the tail end of this presentation with the foreign news. You are listening